The May 11th, 2026 regular board meeting of the Corpus Christi Independent School District Board of Trustees at 5:03 p.m. All items discussed or voted upon this afternoon have been posted as required by state law. This meeting is being live streamed and a complete recording will be archived for the public to view at their convenience. Please speak into your microphones so those watching the live stream will be able to hear what you are saying. At this time, I will call roll to establish a quorum. Eric Villarreal.
Here.
Don Clark. Dr. Alice Upshaw Hawkins. Marty Bell.
Here.
Steve Barrera.
Present.
And I am Dolly Gonzalez Trolley. A quorum has been established and we will proceed with the agenda. Okay, we have our invocation. Mr. Nelson.
Please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're again grateful for the blessing and opportunity of being here today. We're grateful for our school district and the privilege that we all have to serve each of our students and families. We are grateful for them, for their hard work, their achievements, all that they have done to try to improve themselves and to educate them for the future. We're grateful for all of our teachers and for the hard work that they put in for each of these students and families. We're grateful for the administration and the campuses. We're grateful for, most importantly, as we celebrate the achievements of our school board, as they've recently been recognized as the top school board in the state of Texas. We're grateful for them and for their families, for their hard work and their diligence and effort. We're grateful for our superintendent and all those who serve with him. We pray that our time and attention will be devoted to continue the great work as we conclude another school year successfully to meet the needs of our students, of our teachers, and all who are part of this district. To this we pray, amen.
Good afternoon. I would like to extend a warm welcome to two fantastic Creekside Elementary School students who are here today to lead us in the pledges. Also in attendance is their proud principal, Krista Roche. Once the students have finished, we will present them with certificates and take a photo with Dr. Hernandez. Our leaders today are Hannah Armillo and Avery Zinke. They are in the 5th grade. They're student council president and vice president, respectively. Hannah's parents are Kelly Gallagher and Carlo Armijo, and Avery's parents are Timothy and Allison Zinke. Girls, please lead us in the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
We're going to have our district photographer take a picture, and then we're going to ask everybody to hold those beautiful smiles, and families will give you the opportunity to get your picture as well.
Next, we're going to have our district mission and vision. Mr. Bell, could you remind us of our district mission?
Mission of Corpus Christi Independent School District is to develop the hearts and minds of all students, preparing them to be lifelong learners who continue their education and enter the world of work and become productive citizens.
And Dr. Hawkins, could you remind us of our vision?
Thank you. Our vision is to be a world-class school system where every student is a learner, every learner is a graduate, and every graduate is a success.
Thank you. And next, we're going to have our audience participation and non-agenda comments. Before we begin to welcome our audience participation, I'll remind us that as we begin the public comment portion of our board meeting, we remind those who have submitted registration cards of the following board policy BED local requirements. Questions and comments must be addressed to the board, not to individual persons. 3 minutes shall be allotted to each speaker who wishes to comment on non-agenda issues. Speakers or others who make personal attacks against individuals or use abusive or defamatory language or gestures shall be ruled out of order and may be escorted from the boardroom by security staff. Expressions of hostility, including handheld placards, behaviors such as booing, clapping, and cheering shall be prohibited before the board. The board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. If, at least after one warning from the presiding officer, any individual continues to disrupt the meeting by his or her words or actions, the presiding officer may request assistance from law enforcement officials to have the individual removed from the meeting. Lastly, those having public comment should not approach the rostrum or members of the board during the meeting. Any materials for the board should be given to the board's administrative assistant. Okay, the first person we have is Susie Saldana.
I have some information I hope has been passed to you. I'm Susie Saldana, and I want to come before you, and it's a sad situation for me because I think a lot of board members, and I have been very disappointed and hurt at what has happened. I'm talking to you about a particular board member today that was elected in 2016 and had filed his first conflict of interest was on October 23rd, 2017. There is a list of infractions that have gone on to the time of 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020 till that individual was not reelected, comes back on board and was reelected, and the conflict of interest continues in 2024 and 2025. The amount of money that has been done on this conflict of interest is nearly $1 million. I'm telling you that that is unacceptable. I know that you will get people here that say, oh my God, he's a great coach. He's a great teacher. I don't argue those things. What I argue is that when you sit in those chairs, there is things that you have to do. And one of them is declare a conflict of interest. And that has not been done in this case. Removing that individual from the position of vice president is a slap in the hand. There's nothing right about it. That individual should, in my opinion, resign. Resign from the board because integrity, dignity, and respect is what this board should be about. And that trust has been broken completely. It has been broken because you cannot give me an excuse for that many years for it to have happened. For that many years to a conflict of interest to keep coming and coming and coming. I know there's a board, you don't have the ability to remove him. So it's up to him to do the right thing. It is up to him to do the right thing and resign. If he doesn't, he's void of dignity. He's void of respect. He's void of professionalism. That is what I'm telling you, that it is important that we go forward with a board that has a clear integrity. Doesn't matter whether you sit on this board or on any other board. Dignity, respect, and most of all, not making money for your family is one of the things that shouldn't happen. And this is what has happened. That conflict of interest has made the family a lot of money. and it needs to be taken care of now or by the justice system. You pick.
Thank you. Next, we have Sandy Pena.
Hello. I've never spoken before a school board before, but I wrote a speech that I'm going to read here today. Good evening, members of the board and members of the community. My name is Sandy Fernandez, and I'm Vice President of CCAUS United Teachers and School Employees. And I'm here tonight because accountability matters. The people of this district place their trust in elected officials to lead with integrity, ethics, and professionalism and sound judgment. When the trust is broken, the community deserves more than just a partial accountability and careful worded excuses. Stepping down from a vice president is not enough. The issue before the district is not simply about title. It's about conduct, ethics, and responsibility. Actions that are unethical cannot simply be brushed aside because someone later claims they didn't understand the seriousness of what they have done. Ignorance is not an excuse. When you serve on a school board, especially in leadership positions, there's an expectation that you fully understand the standards, responsibility, and ethical obligations that come with that role. Claiming afterwards that you didn't know is simply not an acceptable response from someone entrusted to help lead our schools and represent our community. Our students are taught every day that actions have consequences. We teach them accountability. We teach them honesty. We teach them responsibility. The adults leading the district should be held to at least the same standard. The situation has damaged public trust and created unnecessary division throughout the community. Parents, teachers, staff, and students deserve leadership that reflects integrity and good judgment, not leadership clouded by controversy and excuses. If the behavior was serious enough to require resigning as vice president, then the community has every right to question why remaining on the board would still be appropriate. Public service is a privilege, not a guarantee. True leadership means recognizing when your continued presence becomes harmful to the district you were elected to serve. Tonight, I am respectfully calling that board member to fully resign from the CCISD school board, not out of hatred, not out of politics, but because accountability with real consequences is meaningless. This district deserves ethical leadership, transparency, and people willing to take full responsibility for their actions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jan Kettering.
Good evening to all. It has been a while since I have addressed this school board. However, after being informed about a book, elementary book, called We Are Family, I felt it necessary to make my public comments known. This book is from the LOL Surprise Series of Step Into Reading. We Are Family is a Step 3 read on your own book for grades 1 through 3. The cover looks innocent enough, but throughout the book, the character's attire does not reflect what 6 to 9-year-olds wear. For example, fishnet stockings, short shorts with bra-type tops, and leather apparel with items used in adult deviant behavior. I had several people, both men and women, review this book, and they all agreed that We Are Family does not represent your typical family, nor would they ever want their child exposed to this type of dysfunctional style of living. This book, We Are Family, should not be purchased for any school library. On a brighter note, I recently attended a school library advisory committee meeting known as SLAC. The 8 committee members were reviewing school library books, which were on a list for elementary, middle, and high school students. The members voted to either approve, re-review, or remove certain books from the list. At one time, school districts used good judgment in choosing and purchasing library books that were age appropriate with good quality content. I sincerely hope that CCISD will acknowledge SLAC's positive or negative recommendations regarding these school library book lists. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have our special recognitions. Ms. Libby?
Good afternoon, President Trolley, members of the board, Dr. Roland Hernandez. We have some wonderful recognitions for you this evening. We're going to begin with a topic near and dear to our hearts, perfect attendance. We would like to recognize this evening 2 graduating seniors from Veteran Memorial High School who have had perfect attendance from kindergarten through the 12th grade. As I introduce each one, we ask that you please come forward to greet our board members. You will receive a plaque and a cord. The Corpus Christi Education Foundation has generously awarded each student $250 that will go to the college of their choice. At this time, I would like to honor Davian Garcia, and our second K-12 perfect attendance is Matthew Rodriguez, also from Veterans Memorial. We are so pleased tonight to have several representatives from the Corpus Christi Education Foundation here with us. We ask they join us for the photo, as well as Principal Scott Walker and Assistant Superintendent Dr. Bruce Wilson. Hold those smiles, please. Come on forward. Congratulations, quite an accomplishment. Next up this evening, we have a national recognition regarding academic decathlon. We have a student who is the first CCISD student to compete at Academic Decathlon Nationals, where she finished 3rd overall as an individual in the Division I category. At this time, I would like to invite forward Isabella Kaur from King High School. Join the photo, please come forward. Principal Dr. Prudence Farrell, decathlon sponsor Karen Bost, and Assistant Superintendent for High Schools, Dr. Bruce Wilson. Congratulations. Oh, hold that smile, so sorry. There you go. Congratulations. Next up, we have a student who excelled at the Texas Citizen Bee State Competition. He advanced and placed at the state level for the Texan Citizen Bee, designed to promote civic knowledge and engagement. He competed against regional champions in Austin, demonstrating exceptional knowledge in U.S. history, the Constitution, Supreme Court cases, civic values, and current events. We now invite forward from Ray High School, Unal McLaughlin. And we invite to join the photo proud principal Roxanne Gonzalez-Cuevas, International Baccalaureate sponsor Lorinda Hamilton, and Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership Dr. Bruce Wilson. Hold those smiles, please. Oh, wait, not quite yet. All right, congratulations, Anna. All right, we'll see him again momentarily because we're ready to introduce our valedictorians and salutatorians for the class of 2026. Dr. Hernandez, there is a plaque for each student and also for our valedictorians on the way out. When you pick up the box to keep your award safe in on the drive home, there's also a folder for you with some important award information. To our valedictorians and salutatorians, we are so proud of you. We're going to call each of your names, and then we want to take one big group photo, so please stay up there after you have greeted the board and received your plaque. Representing Harold T. Branch Academy, valedictorian Ashley Nava. Salutatorian Noah Sella. From Mary Carroll High School, Callie Gallagher, valedictorian. Lucas Settles, salutatorian. At Collegiate High School, the valedictorian is Anna Sho. Salutatorian Helen Valdivia. Representing Richard King High School, valedictorian Gianna Blanco. Salutatorian Lola Flores. Representing Roy Miller High School, valedictorian Sofia Alonso Cantu. Salutatorian Marisa Perez. Foy-H Moody High School's valedictorian is Isabella Mendoza. Salutatorian Jonathan Laredo. From W.B. Ray High School, valedictorian Sharmata Palakirthi. Salutatorian Unal McLaughlin. Veterans Memorial High School's valedictorian is Raina Sho. Salutatorian Selena Zing. I'd like to invite Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership, Dr. Bruce Wilson, and proud principals, Dr. Tracy Rodriguez, Dr. Jennifer Guerra Leos, Dr. Prudence Farrell, Dr. Aurelio Tamayo, Dr. Enrique Vela, Roxanne Gonzalez Cuevas, and Scott Walker to please join us for the photo. And students, remember, we're going to take a district photo, and I suspect you're going to have to hold those smiles for a while. I bet we have some families in here who would love their own photo. So bear with us. Okay, hold those smiles, please. All right, families, you're welcome to come forward. Hold those smiles. Hang in there, students and staff. All right, congratulations, students. You make us very proud. Students, if you'd please exit down the center aisle, please. Students, down the center aisle. Next, we wish to honor our above-the-line employees for the month of May. We surprised these folks at their workplaces, and recently it was a lot of fun to see them and to honor their work, and we're glad to have them here with us tonight. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forward to greet the board and receive a certificate, and we'll take a group photo with you as well. In our certified category, we were very delighted to surprise from Creekside Elementary School, Mr. Alan Webb. He is a teacher at Creekside. He follows the leadership definition by developing hearts. His classroom is a place of belonging. Students feel respected, capable, and supported. He approaches each child with patience and compassion, modeling perseverance, adaptability, and optimism. In our auxiliary category, we honored human resources analyst Heather Ibarbo. We select our above-the-line employees by finding those who embody the qualities of our leadership definition, and she shapes the future. She implements effective and sustainable systems, streamlining background clearances and student-teacher placements. She's developed relationships with our university partners and consistently works with them to establish timely, successful placements. In our administrative category, we honor Advanced Academic Specialist from Curriculum and Instruction, Diana Villarreal. She was also honored for shaping the future. As a champion of student competitions, she ensures staff and students have what they need, helps guide the staff who attend these competitions. Her leadership has led to national recognition for both the National Hispanic Institute and Destination Imagination. In our substitute category, we honored Deborah Davenport, substitute, who was at Luther Jones Elementary School when we surprised her. She embodies the definition by empowering minds. She embraced the steep learning curve by mastering new instructional programs, planning and pacing with determination. She modeled perseverance and a growth mindset, and she empowered her students to embrace challenges and develop confidence. We invite now to join the photo Principals Krista Richey, Amy Pina, Director Brian Davis, Chief Human Resources Officer Debbie Lara, and Assistant Superintendents Dr. Elizabeth Perez and Dr. Bruce Wilson. Hold those smiles, please. I do see a few cameras. Y'all come on up. Come on up. You can come closer. Okay.
Everybody say cheese.
All right, congratulations. You make us very proud. And we round out tonight's recognitions by announcing that we have some people here from one of our very favorite places, and that is HEB. And they want to personally congratulate you for being named the HEB Excellence in Education Outstanding School Board. I am pleased to invite the dear Beth DeTomo, who's going to correct me if I still manage to get it wrong, Public Affairs for the Gulf Coast region. We invite her to the podium to say a few words, introduce her colleagues, and join the photo.
Thank you. First, I'm so pleased to see all of you again and extremely proud. For those of you in the audience that may not know, this is a big honor to recognize the service and the work that you do for our community. You're shaping lives of students every single day, whether you know it or not, and in a volunteer manner. And that means such a great deal to us at HEB, who has huge hearts for education. The company was founded on giving back in the community and also just a heart for service in children and education. So thank you for the work that you're doing. I was thrilled to be there last Sunday evening and cheering for all of you in the back. So excited. At HEB, we call ourselves the Gulf Coast region, and so we were thrilled to have you all be recognized for your board service. So thank you for what you do. You're shaping the lives truly of these children, and you're leading and making our communities better every day. So thank you for what you're doing, and we're thrilled to see that you have another banner that you can recognize on your buildings and schools. So again, you guys won Large School Board of the Year, and so we're thrilled. And your $25,000, I hope, will go to great use. So I'm going to invite Crystal Haug, who's our Director of Retail Operations, Roland Mesa, who's our other Director of Retail Operations. They do the fun work in our stores every single day, so they're here to say thank you as well. Congratulations.
The Board of Trustees will now enter into closed session at 5:37 p.m. pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.074, and 551.076. The board is now returned from closed session at 6:01 p.m. Do we have a motion?
I move to give notice of the proposed non-renewal of a term contract teacher as discussed in closed session.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Hawkins and a second by Mr. Bell. The deliberators are open. Motion carries. Is that an old vote? Huh. Okay, something's up with the. It's, okay, it's correct, but, motion carries. Okay, it's clear now, so we'll make sure it's working for next time. Okay. Next, we have our administrative report. Dr. Arizmendi.
Hello, good evening, President Trolley, members of the board, Dr. Hernandez. My name is Dr. Jennifer Arizmendi. I'm the Chief Officer for Special Education Programs and Services. This evening, my presentation will provide an annual update on special education, highlighting current student and program enrollment data and outlining progress toward the Lone Star Governance Goals 1 through 4. This update will also review performance and key accountability areas, including RDA and state performance plan indicators. In addition, this presentation will address our ongoing initiatives and next steps toward improvement, and also recognize some of our students and staff. It is worth noting that Senate Bill 568 of the 89th legislative session now mandates that I provide this annual board report to you. Districts are still waiting, though, for commissioners' rules on the exact required content of the annual update. Over the last 5 years, special education enrollment has increased from 12.6% to 19.3%, surpassing the state average of 15.5% of total enrollment for a district. It does appear that our program enrollment is beginning to plateau. Our growing numbers have signaled student needs, and it really underscores the importance of staffing and resources. Campus leaders and members of our special education team are actively monitoring applications and expanding recruitment efforts to try to ensure that we are providing those services. Since CCISD is above the state average in our special education enrollment, the Office of Special Education initiated an external audit in October 2025. This external audit took a deep dive into our district's multi-tiered systems of support, referred to as MTSS, and its off-ramping procedures that yield a special education referral. This audit reviewed various data and gathered information from multiple stakeholders that included several campus personnel and other district personnel. This audit was finalized in January of 2026. The findings outlined opportunities for our district to streamline referrals for special education, to strengthen our MTSS processes, and ensure that referrals to special education are reserved for students who do not respond to early evidence-based interventions. These improvements to the MTSS system will provide a more consistent and responsive decision-making and supports to students all across our district. This slide provides a breakdown of special education students by their primary disability. Note that the abbreviations on the chart are detailed in the legend located at the top right. The largest disability category continues to be specific learning disability at 39%, which does include dyslexia, followed by autism at 16% and other health impairment at 13%. Speech impairment and intellectual disability represent additional significant proportions of our population. These distributions provide insight to the training needs and program designs that we provide in CCISD. Now let's review our program placements. This slide will provide an overview of our special ed program enrollments and how students are served across different instructional settings. This information also is used to influence our staffing allocations. The largest portion of our students are served in the mainstream and inclusion setting at 46%. This means that these students receive all of their services in the mainstream instructional setting. Followed by that, we have 31% of our students that are served in a resource setting. Resource is a setting in which students receive pull-out services to address areas of need. For example, it could be targeted supplemental instruction and interventions in the area of reading or math, and this does include dyslexia. It can also include related services such as counseling, occupational, and physical therapies. The remaining students are served in more specialized program placements. These are identified on the graph as BASES, adaptive education, early childhood, homebound, and other highly individualized settings. While these programs represent smaller enrollment numbers, students served in these environments often have more intensive academic, behavioral, and physical needs. As a result, these programs require lower teacher-to-student ratios, specialized training, and additional resources to ensure they receive their level of support necessary. Together, this distribution of program placement highlights the wide range of needs within our special education program, and it reinforces the importance of maintaining a strong set of professional development to ensure program capacity across all of our service models. Now let's look at our staffing. This table provides our staffing updates. Special education staffing remains one of our most significant operational challenges that we face. We currently have 51 teacher vacancies, 62 paraprofessional vacancies. These roles are essential for providing safe learning environments and for delivering IEP required services. Campus principals are actively recruiting, monitoring the application pool, reaching out to qualified candidates, and when they find a candidate who applied for a non-SPED job and they see they have a SPED certification, they convince them to come over to the special ed side. We also face shortages in our specialized roles. We currently have 3 vacancies for educational diagnosticians, 7 for school psychologists, and 8 speech pathologists. These vacancies impact our evaluations for students, timeline compliance, and service delivery. To maintain continuity of services, we have expanded contracted services for our speech therapy. We've added virtual occupational therapy. We also use them for ARD facilitation and other evaluation services while we work to permanently staff these positions. Additional vacancies include 3 program specialists and a coordinator for speech language pathology and the regional day school program for the deaf. To strengthen our pipeline and to help fill these specialized vacancies, we continue to invest in our partnerships with A&M Corpus Christi, A&M Kingsville, Dallas Baptist, and others. The support that is provided to these universities in this partnership is to allow students to complete their observation hours, have resident teachers, and other future educators. Recruitment efforts, targeted stipends, and participation in the teacher incentive allotment further support teacher retention. Okay, I'm going to move on now to our Lone Star governance goals. Lone Star governance goal number 1 focuses on early childhood reading and math performance. Goal 1, Progress Measure 3, looks specifically at student groups in the area of reading at the MEETS standard. As a reminder, our LSG goals and interim targets for the subpopulation of special education were set using federal targets. Looking at the chart at the top left, you will see the legend for the 2027 federal target for 3rd grade STAR being 26%, along with our LSG interim targets for 2025 being 23% and 25% for 2026. Now let's look at the data below that legend. Looking at the 2025 STAR performance for reading, 25% of our special ed students scored at the meets level. This means that we exceeded our 2025 LSG interim target, and we are approaching the 2027 federal target. It is also important to note that performance for our sub-pop has increased by 10 percentage points since 2023. Now let's look at the chart on the right. This is progress measure 1.6 that focuses on math performance, again at the meets level for STAR. Based on 2025 results, 26% of our special education students scored at the meets level. We exceeded our 2025 LSG interim target and are moving closer to that federal target. Also, since 2023, this group has increased performance by 9 percentage points. We attribute these increases in student performance due to our intentional training and planning with our special education teachers, specifically on inclusion strategies, helping them internalize our instructional guides, and providing effective pull-out services in the areas of reading and math. Also, the support from our curriculum and instruction team for teaching and learning during the Rock and Review, where specialists are all hands on deck, and everyone helps our campuses for several weeks as we prepare students by assisting with small group instruction. Now we'll move on to LSG Goal 2, 3rd through EOC, at meets for RLA and math. Goal 2, progress measure 2.1, focuses on RLA performance 3rd through 5th grades. Based on our 2025 STAR results, 27% of our students scored at the meets level. We exceeded both the LSG interim target and the federal target. And in those 2 years, we've increased performance by 14 percentage points. Progress measure 2.2 measures 6th through 8th grade RLA performance. Again, our 2025 STAR results, 22% of our special ed students scored at the meets level. This means that we met our LSG interim target and exceeded our federal target. And in this area overall, we have improved by 10 percentage points. On progress measure 2.3, we are measuring STAR performance for English 1 and English 2 EOC assessment. Our 2025 results, 20% of our students achieved at the meets level. So we did meet our interim target and have exceeded our federal target. And our performance has increased by 9 points. But I want to take a minute here because you will see this is the first area where we saw a slight dip in our student performance. The teaching and learning team has identified areas within the instructional guides for English 1 and 2 to strengthen them. And that has been done and training has been provided. In addition, teaching and learning has worked to implement Summit K-12 for this class. And it is an intervention to help support students who need additional tutoring in these concepts in which they struggle. Additionally, all year, the Office of Special Education has provided ongoing professional development for inclusion teachers with a focus on scaffolding instruction and willing to help students build their comprehension habits and develop strong writing habits so that they can provide good responses for both short and extended constructed response on the English 1 and English 2. The entire CNI team is working together and remains committed to accelerating the growth of students in English 1 and 2. Moving on to math for Goal 2. Progress measure 2.4 focuses on 3rd through 5th grade in math. On the 2025 STAR, 26% of our students achieved at the meets standard. We met our interim target for 2025 and we're on our way to meeting the federal target. Overall, we have improved by 8 percentage points in 3rd through 5th math. In 6th through 8th, we had 19% of our students who met standard at the meets level. We met our interim target and again on the way to meeting our federal target. Performance for this group has improved by 13 percentage points. These increases are attributed to the redesign of our math instructional guides and focuses on teacher training and the use of supplemental aids, accommodations, and calculator skills for students. We are confident that this trajectory of growth will allow us to exceed the LSG interim target and our federal target. And 2.6, Algebra 1 EOC. I'm pleased to report that we had 24% of our special education students reach the MEETS standard, and we have surpassed our interim and federal target for this measure. And since 2023, student performance has increased by 15 percentage points. And again, we attribute those changes to the actions noted on the previous slide of accommodations, supplemental aids, and calculator use. Okay, moving on to our Lone Star Governance 3 for CCMR for special education. As a reminder, this indicator does run 1 year behind, and that is noted underneath the year of accountability. So for example, 2024, right underneath that it says class of 2023 because this indicator does run 1 year behind. The special education LSG interim target for 2025 was 75%, and we achieved 75%. Therefore, we met our both interim target and federal target. Since this measure runs a year behind, we're able to project ahead for this coming year's accountability, and we're projecting that to be at 88%. Overall, special education performance in CCMR is anticipated to increase by 22%. This growth is due to the effective counseling model that is used by our counselors at the high school, inclusive CTE programming, and training of our high school special ed department chairs in exactly what transition planning means. And our last LSG goal is non-academic. So we will review discipline and attendance for special education students. So let's look at the chart on the left. This chart provides data both on out-of-school suspension and DAEP removals. The dark blue line at the top is out-of-school suspensions. The district is seeing an increase in students' suspensions in both elementary and high school. For elementary, when we take a deep dive, the main reasons for these suspensions are for simple assault and persistent misbehavior in the classroom. At high school, when we take a deep dive into their removals, it is due to fighting for mutual combat and disruption of the school environment. The light blue line is data of DAEP removals, and we see a slight decrease in our DAEP removals for special ed. Now let's look at the chart on the right, special education attendance. As you can see, our attendance has increased by almost 1% this school year. We're not doing anything special in special ed. We're doing something special at the district. As you can see, our increase in special education is in alignment with the district as attendance remains a top priority across all of our programs in CCISD. Now we're going to transition away into accountability. So special education runs under 3 different accountability systems. We just took a look at the federal one that aligns to our LSGs. And now we're going to look at RDA, the results-driven accountability, and our state performance plan. So our TAPER report reports the special education determination level, and I have a picture of it there on the slide. The purpose of the reporting of special education determination levels is intended to reflect the extent in which the district is meeting compliance requirements under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. This rating is a comprehensive score on a district's special education program. This determination level drives the required program supervision responsibilities by the Texas Education Agency. On this slide, you will see 4 years of determination levels. Determination levels are based on 5 areas. One is the RDA report, which I will cover shortly. 2 is state performance plan indicator compliance, which also I'll cover in upcoming slides. It's also based on submission of valid and reliable data, uncorrected noncompliance, and financial audits. As you can see on the table, CCISD has a determination level of 3, needs intervention. This is the first year that CCISD has entered into a determination level 3. In previous years, we were a DL2 of needs assistance. This new DL3 designation is a lower performance rating and is due primarily to our continued noncompliance on state performance plans for timelines and initial evaluations. So due to our determination level 3 rating, CCISD must engage in specific activities. This table provides a quick view of actions that must be taken by CCISD, ESC2, and the Texas Education Agency. The areas marked in the bold new indicates the new areas that we now must participate in since we are a DL3. We have our final conference with TEA and ESC later this month, and several members from our curriculum and instruction team, along with all of our assistant superintendents, participate in these quarterly meetings where we review the district's action plans and the progress toward our academic activities and compliance activities. So I have created a quick snapshot view for you, and you have that handout in front of you. It's pictured here on this slide. The RDA accountability system was revised this year, and we now have 15 indicators, where previously we had 18 indicators. So if you will follow along with me on the page that was provided to you, I'll provide you a layout of the data. So indicators number 1, 2, and 3, and those are shaded in the light blue. They contain subcategories that align to STAR performance in the areas of math, RLA, science, and social studies. One important difference to note with RDA accountability versus the LSG accountability that I just went over is RDA uses approaches as an adequate standard on passing STAR. So the data on here are students who met approaches level. That's why you may see a difference in the previous performance data at meets to this. Now let's look across at the columns. So column 2 provides the state targets identified as cut points for each indicator. TEA has identified those cut points as our targets. So we are aiming to reach the cut points that are listed in column 2. Column 3 provides you with 2024 RDA district data, and column 4 provides you with the current 2025 district data. Column 5 is a mathematical difference between 2024 and 2025. To the right of the solid black line, you will find the 2025 state and ESC2 regional data. So if you just take a quick glance at this document, you will see that based on the information I've provided you, several cells shaded in green. That's because our amazing students in special education had numerous areas of growth in these indicators. For indicators 1 and 2 in the area of science, we saw the greatest gains with 10.8% and 22.2% respectively. In almost all indicators, CCISD is outperforming our region and is very comparable with the state. There were 3 areas that you'll see shaded in red where we had slight declines. Algebra saw a 1/10 percentage point decline. Graduation rates fell by 1.1%, and dropouts increased by 0.9%. To address our graduation and dropouts, special education leaders, along with members of the district impact teams, meet with high school campuses every month. During these meetings, there are intentional discussions to address students in special education who are at risk of dropping out or are in need of additional supports. Now let's move on to our next slide. state performance plan. This also plays an important role in our determination level rating. These SPP indicators have a required compliance target of 100%. CCISD is currently under a corrective action plan for indicators 11A, 11B, and 12 due to our performance year over year of not meeting a target of 100%. As of April 13th, when this data was retrieved, we have made gains from last year, but we project that we will not meet 100% compliance for 2026. When reviewing the reasons for noncompliance, it continues due to the increase in both the number of requests for initial evaluations and the mandated 3-year reevaluation timelines. This, coupled with the required testing of private school students who pursued vouchers and the difficulty of filling vacant positions of our diagnosticians, school psychologists, and speech pathologists, has resulted in continued noncompliance. While we have been able to creatively try to solve some of the problems through contracting with outside service providers, we have not been able to fully compensate for vacant positions. We are on track to complete more than 1,000 initial evaluations this year. Also on this slide is SPP 13. Historically, we have been 100% in this indicator. However, this year, TEA has changed SPP 13 significantly, and so my office has been working with our high school special education department chairs, running compliance reports and meeting with transition teachers to ensure that we meet 100% compliance, even under the new system. So what are we going to do about everything that you've heard tonight? Beginning this school year, the Office of Special Education implemented several strategic initiatives that have resulted in positive student outcomes. Strategic priority number 1 focuses on enhancing academic programs. We did this through launching Inclusion 2.0. This is where we refocused training teachers and paraeducators through targeted PD. This included principals and assistant principals to ensure that they are all aligned in what effective in-class support looks like. We're also seeing improvement through collaboration and PLCs. We have redesigned the PLC process for a special education teacher and their role within the PLC, and we're seeing positive outcomes. We also rebranded BASES, and through decentralization and rebranding, we are seeing improvement. ECSE, which is the Early Childhood Special Education, I brought that report a couple of months ago to you. We have strengthened our focus on behavior. We are seeing a lot of littles coming into our program at 3 years old, 4 years old, displaying significant behaviors. And so we have trained not only our ECSE teachers and paras, but also our pre-K teachers and paras, because we know our students are coming in and out of those classrooms. And also adaptive education, we have completely redesigned our instructional guides and provided high-quality supplemental resources for our students in adaptive education. Based on what you heard this evening, obviously we had to address strategic priority number 2 of compliance and accountability. So we will continue to ensure that we strive for at least 95% compliance on SPP 11A, 11B, and 12. TEA has told us that 95% compliance shows that we are making meaningful progress toward that 100%. Like I said, we already know we're not going to reach 100%, so TEA is working with us trying to ensure we will reach 95%. And again, even though we saw several areas of green on our RDA report, we still must continue to close the gaps that exist between special ed students and gen ed students. Lastly, we need to make sure that we're addressing speech compensatory services. We have significant vacancies in the area of speech therapy. Even with our contracted services, those partners that we have, they have a hard time finding speech pathologists to provide services. So we've done it through expanded intersession opportunities in October, Saturday schools, after schools, anytime that we can bring students in. The good news is we are on track to make up our services. There's a handful of students who haven't been able to participate in all of the outside of school time interventions, and so we'll work individually with those families during the summer, but it's a much smaller number than what we started with. Lastly, program 3 priority is our program quality. We want to make sure we're building our talent pipeline and we have strong partnerships with our universities, because it's our universities that are going to feed us our professionals to be able to work with our students and provide those required services. Recruiting and retention efforts by our recent increase in stipends for several special ed staff members. Continue parent communication, social media, and newsletter. It's really important to me that our parents feel like it's easy for them to get in touch with anybody at the campus or here at the administration building. And also, we have expanded our summer camps that we're offering this year. Last year, we offered camps for adaptive education and students in our BASIS program, and we have expanded that this year to include more grade levels. Last year it was just secondary, so now we have elementary and secondary, and we've added the early childhood special education students to that. And we've created a separate camp for our BASIS students. So we're really excited about those opportunities for our families. So also, what's fun is celebrating our staff and our students. This year, special education teachers and paraeducators have received much recognition for their hard work and dedication. Several staff members have been named above the line, and one not pictured here that y'all honored this evening was Mr. Webb from Creekside. He is also a special education teacher. Also, we have individuals who have received grants from CCEF and other community partners. It has brought joy to this entire special ed team whenever we found out that 3 of our 6 finalists for Teacher of the Year were special ed teachers. It's pretty amazing to have 50%. And also our most recent accolade goes out to our adaptive education teacher at Mary Carroll High School, Ms. Evans, for being an HEB finalist for Rising Star for secondary schools. And lastly, our babies, our student celebrations. We love celebrating our students, whether we are cheering them on during many of Special Olympics events or providing experiences of outdoor sciences, immersing them in excitement of space through piano music during a sensory-friendly event at A&M Corpus, or teaching them skills for the future through mobile coffee stations or presenting their project at the Texas Science and Engineering Fair. The Office of Special Education strives to maximize student opportunities and engagement. Thank you so much, board members, for your time this evening. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Arizmendi, for your report. I know we're going to have some questions and comments. We will start with Dr. Hawkins.
Thank you for the report. I'm glad to hear that we are doing some really good things. I know that we have more work to do, but these reports are really impressive, and so I want to thank you for that. I just have one question. I know that we have our early childhood department thriving and growing, but I wonder if there has been a push or any kind of detection as to whether what's going on with these youngsters, that they are turning over tables and biting and kicking and. It's currently clear at 81 degrees. Okay. That was I was looking for.
Ask AI, right? That's what it's doing. Ask AI.
But I just did a study on some of this, and one of the findings that I had was that it was all about the screen time, the cell phone, all of those little gadgets and stuff. And I'm just wondering if there is any kind of research or study that y'all have actually been able to read or access to determine why our children, or many of them, are having, I don't want to call them fits, but they go in and they are very unhappy.
Yeah, they are. So I can't say that we have a study necessarily that we've pointed to. What we do know is that when students qualify for special education and come in, and they can come in at any point in the school year once they turn 3 or 4, as soon as they qualify. So which is slightly different from, say, pre-K. Pre-K, there's a certain date you have to be 3 or 4. Special ed, not. You can come in all throughout the year. And so what we find is students who come in to our programs, we do have to reinforce school structure, school rules, and we've always had to do that. That is not new. But I think that the outbursts are bigger than what we have traditionally had. Could be screen time or other factors, that could be disability related or just a different environment from home and school related. Mm-hmm. And so we have implemented several trainings and programs, and we have another one that we have scheduled for the start of next year to help those age students, whether they're in special ed or general ed, because again, it really helps special education programming when we can provide the training and support and materials for our general ed teachers, because maybe that prevents an unnecessary referral to special ed. So we have that training that is set already for the start of next school year. And it was a 2-year grant that we were awarded through TEA. And really the focus is to train the young students on how to regulate behavior at such a young age, and teaching us how to build in structures and systems for those students to help them regulate.
Well, I appreciate that, because I know that they've taken away those guardrails about suspension and sending them home at those young ages, and now that is an option or a tool. So I just don't want to see our numbers go up really high because of that, because I have family members who are turning over tables and stuff like that, and it's really troubling. So I'm hoping that we can get a handle on that, and especially with these really young ones, because sometimes they really are too young to really understand the ramifications of what they're doing and disturbing a class and that kind of thing. So
Sure.
I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. It's a good report.
Yes, Dr. Mendez, thank you so much. A lot of information here as I went through it. You guys I think you're working really hard to be on point, which is good. Some things that, as I was looking at our Lone Star governance stuff, and I'm looking at the GPM 1.3, the 3rd grade RLA star, and the math, that particular slide. Yes, and as I saw the growth there, it dawned on me, what do those percentages represent? Okay, we have 6,111 total kids. Of those 6,000 kids, how many of them are actually in the 3rd grade? Mm-hmm. And then you divide that by the 30 elementary schools that we have. So you're talking about, in order to reach our goals, you're talking about 5 or 6 kids
per grade.
Per grade, per campus. Am I in the right? What is
elementary, the numbers are a little bit larger than that. Some of our larger elementaries do have larger enrolled grade levels. I mean, right now, every elementary, I would say, has approximately 100 special ed students on each campus at the elementary.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
And I would ask one further question stemming from that one, is this would just be including the kids in 3rd grade that are taking the actual STAR?
Any STAR.
But not STAR Alt or anything else, and which would further divide the category, right?
I would turn to Ms. Zyla.
Because that isn't classified by meets or masters, or I mean they have a different scale.
But there is some equation. There's some.
The
it does
secret
include STAR
equation.
Alt. Yes, it does include STAR Alt. I mean, usually whenever we talk about STAR, it's all STAR tests.
Okay, thank you.
And these kiddos are taking there's a STAR alternative, but that's a separate case of kiddos. So the rest of them are taking a regular STAR exam for 3rd graders in RLA and math. Right. And so for me, I'd like to kind of look at, if you're looking at third grade, 25%, how many kiddos are we talking about per campus? And really for me, just to take a look at that, but for our campuses to be cognitive of, hey, we got to have 6 kids that we got to really, we want them all to go. I mean, we want them all to 100%, but just to move it 3% for the district is just, and I'm assuming it's 6,000 divided by, the math is probably smaller than that. In terms
Sure,
of
because, I mean, 6,000 starts at pre-K 3, you know,
through
ECSD.
through 12, right? And so, you know, and I don't know, I could go back and look at our attendance and figure that out, but when I was just going through that, I'm going, well, how many kids that really is at the campus level? You know, just, this seems like a small percentage for us to really move the needle on that. So, you know, that would be an interesting number. Also, what struck me too is that we have the chart up there where you have the number of teachers that we are vacancies that we have, and then the special ed paraprofessionals, the people that are in the classroom doing the work day in and day out. And I don't know, 5162, I don't know how many total teachers we have that are special ed. That seems like a high number to me, but when you look at a district of 32,000 students and 6,000 special ed kiddos, that 51 may be a small number. What is that relationship?
We have approximately 300 teachers. And the approximate same, and that's 300 is a low. I mean, it might be, you know, above that, but 300 minimum of teachers and about 300 of paras. So I would say 51%, 51, and most of them are elementary. I would say 45 of them are at elementary.
Okay.
So, and yeah, that's where really...
That's where the vacancies are?
That's really where the important work happens, in that early support and closing of gaps at that young grade.
So what I'm hearing is that we're trying to move the needle in our third grade, and we have the largest number of vacancies in the third grade.
Not in the third grade,
Okay.
in elementary.
In elementary school.
I can't guarantee it's well, most special ed teachers aren't assigned one grade level either.
Okay, that's good. And then the last thing that struck me is that, okay, we have one out of every 50% of 51 vacancies out of 300, and then we're trying to come through and looked at the professional development, because that's huge for our teachers and our paraprofessionals. And it sounds like the state is really prescribing what we need to do, because I saw a lot of new. And here we have we're going to onboard 51 new teachers, 62 new paraprofessionals, and we're going to, but it seems like we have a pretty good chunk of teachers and paraprofessionals that are missing all the time, that don't get the professional development.
Well, we do bring in long-term subs on our PD days. You know, we do ask that the campuses invite them to our professional development, so that, you know, the person who is standing in that vacancy can receive the information and training to be able to turn around to the campus.
A little bit of understanding. And so long-term subs going in to be a special ed teacher, are we just taking anybody that, or do we vet that and we try to get somebody that has a little bit of background or understanding or whatnot? Or are we just putting somebody in there?
Yeah, well, when we can hire, so there's two areas in CCISD that can hire retired teachers. Special ed is one of those areas. And so I can tell you that principals do pursue retired teachers to try to get them to come back to sub in the vacancy spot. And so, you know, that we do try to align that. For everybody else where we don't have retired teachers to come in, I would have to defer to the campus principal on their selection of an individual for long-term sub. I don't know that I have that granular of information.
Okay, thank you.
Great information. Thank you, Dr. Addisman. Great to see the growth. And I want to speak specifically, it's not a question, a statement, and you don't have to answer it now, but one of the things, you know, is that at the campus level, you know, autonomy, resources, funds, I know that it's a statewide issue. We're not able to find these teachers and things like that, but we've got to be creative at our campuses and ensuring that all of our students are receiving the services allocated as it relates to their IEPs. We spend a lot, we have art facilitators, we do, and it's not just a SPED issue. It's not, we've had this conversation and things like that, but it's a CCISD issue, and giving, like all the vacancies that we have, so we have extra money allocated there. We have our Medicaid, all the different things, but being creative and saying, okay, campus A, B, C, you figure it out, because I know they can figure it out, but they don't want to. You have teachers, you have people that are doing the above and beyond, and that's what they do across the district, but we have to start providing the funds, paying them, and because, during their planning period, whatever it takes to make sure, because that's another thing, and specific to that is that, so we come back and we say, okay, we're going to owe Jennifer compensatory services, and then we penalize the kid and the parent, and we make them come on a Saturday, and so we need to we've got to really, and be creative, give our campuses the autonomy, because and I was I was like, what number can we say? And you said, TEA said 95%. So 95% of our students if they receive their services throughout the year, we're going to see a lot more growth here and things like that. And I know it's a huge, but it takes some planning and preparation, putting, again, it's the resources, giving these campuses the resources, the people, the staff, to provide those services for those kids, because it was a challenge as a principal, and it's a challenge on this side as well too, but I know you and your team and the district can get that done. Thank you.
Well, I am working with Debbie Lotta. She and I have come across a feature within our frontline HR application system that we use. So, for example, if you want to apply for one of our jobs, you go to our website and you click on online jobs, and it takes you to our district's platform that houses the application system. Well, we discovered that Frontline has something called campaigns. And so special ed is the recipient of the first CCISD campaign. And so what Frontline does is sends an email to all individuals who currently have an application in Frontline and draws them to our district. Kind of like Indeed platform and, LinkedIn, like it will go out and solicit these individuals that have the credentials. So I go and list the credentials that we need for a special ed teacher, and I opened it up. It could either do the whole country, which there's almost 83,000 special ed teachers in Frontline currently that are qualified to teach special education across the country, or I could just limit it to Texas, but we'll take teachers from out of state. And that is currently what we're running, is a campaign soliciting individuals from across the country to apply to our job here in CCISD. So fingers crossed, we can fill some of these vacancies. And that's for all of our positions, all of our special education positions.
Immediately following that, how long has that campaign been going?
We just launched the campaign. We recently found out about it. And so we've been working on the backside of Frontline for HR. Again, that's definitely not my area of purview, but getting the system set up to be able to run campaigns. So Debbie Lotta and her team have been working with a Frontline team to make that happen. So we just recently launched it.
Great. I have a couple other questions that haven't been asked yet. And I think I've asked this before, but I've forgotten. How is the federal target set?
I don't know.
Well, and just to keep this in mind as you're answering that question, is it the same for all districts or by state, or is it differ? How does that differ, state to state or district to district?
So, good afternoon, everybody. Sonia Zyla, Accountability. Federal targets are set at the state average. When we had our accountability refresh in 2023. TEA set the federal targets again. TEA submits to the feds through ESSA that these will be our federal targets when we set the state. So typically they are the state average of that student group for that year. So the most recent federal targets we have right now are from the 2023. It was based on the prior year, so 2022 STAR outcomes. And each federal target is set by campus type. So we have elementary targets, middle school targets, high school targets for each of those subjects for each of the student groups. So special education in this case, all of our racial ethnic groups, economically disadvantaged, emergent bilingual, all of the targets that we're being evaluated on in domain 3.
Okay, so just to clarify, the federal targets are set by the state?
Yes.
By the TEA?
Yes, it's based on
Makes
TEA
perfect
STAR
sense.
averages, and then TEA submitted to the state for approval. These will be our targets, and so
Okay.
the Fed has to approve them. And it's
Okay.
all through ESSA.
Okay. Okay, and then I think you clarified this already, but everybody that's in this SPED STAR sub-pop testing group is everybody that has a 504,
That's submitted.
or an IEP or
Not
ART.
a 504.
Not a
They-
504. So it's
no.
not 504,
No,
just
it's only
ART.
special education. Yes,
But isn't
IEP.
dyslexia a special education designation? And
Uh-huh.
don't those students have 504s?
No.
They don't.
You're either special education student or a 504 student. You're not.
Okay. Okay, so
During
dyslexia
school,
is under
yes.
special education and it has an ART. Okay. Okay. Then how many evaluations are we currently having to do for private school students?
So as part of the vouchers, we had 74 requests. So that will be 74 initial evaluations. Many of them were completed. Of the 74 requests, 34 students qualified as a student with a disability that I submitted the information to the comptroller's office.
Okay. And they correct, well, just, I guess it's ask more of a question. As they come in for a request, they are in line just in the same order as with our students as they come in, right?
That is correct.
They don't go to the back of the line, they're not in the front of the line, they're just in the order of as they're received.
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, you mentioned IGs for adaptive education. Are we doing that now for all grades at all levels?
Yes.
How long have we been doing that?
Well, I did it my first round as a special ed director. When I
Okay.
came back, I reinstated instructional guides. So last year, we had only a framework for instructional guides because really of just my coming in and finding in about October, we didn't have instructional guides for teachers. And so I put a writing team together to begin writing them. And so they wrote the framework of just the standards. And so this school year, we've spent the entire year actually now building out that framework to identify the resources and activities at each of the 3 levels for students taking STAR Alt.
So that would mean that at any given day, we could go to any different campus and they should all be on the same page, which I think is fantastic because I think that's a lot of feedback I've heard is that there has not been consistency and a lot of our special education teachers are out there trying to find their own resources. So.
And that's why we started the focus on instructional writing. And like I said, I know the first year it was a framework. It's kind of like just getting a scope. Like we're going to give you a list of the TEKs. You go find the activities to teach the TEKs because of just the amount of time it takes to put together a writing team. And so that's why we started it this school year. And we've been doing it throughout the year.
Well, thank you for that. I think that's wonderful. Can you remind us, you mentioned the increase in stipends for certain positions in special education, and I know we've discussed that a lot, but can you remind us which positions in special education have stipends and what those are?
Goodness, I'm going to do it from memory. So we do have some teachers that are grandfathered in stipends, and it's $1,000 grant. We just refer to it in my office as the grandfather stipend. So I believe prior to 2013, all special ed teachers received $1,000 stipend. And then it stopped at at or about maybe 2012, 2013. I don't know exactly when. Beyond that, we have what's new to a stipend is elementary inclusion teachers, because that's where the hard to fill position is. As I had stated, that's the majority of the 51 teacher vacancies that we have. So we have placed a $2,000 elementary inclusion teacher stipend. We also have a self-contained adaptive education stipend across all grade levels of $3,500. Same with bases, all grade levels of $5,000. We have department chair stipends at elementary and elementary at $1,875. At secondary, we just increased that to $5,000. TEA will be rolling out changes in June where we're having to redesign that role, that position of a middle school and high school department chair to where they will be more instructionally focused in addition to doing the ARDS that they currently do. So, and they are not eligible for TIA because they're in ARDS all day. So we wanted to make sure we incentivize them and not penalize them for doing that important role. And we have also added stipends to our specialist positions for evaluation. So diagnosticians, school psychologists, and speech pathologists have a $5,000 stipend starting next year. In addition, some of those staff are also what we call cluster leads. And they have, in addition, $1,875 stipend.
That's great. Good
so
job.
It was an increase of, with benefits, probably close to $1 million of stipends that we increased moving into next year.
That's great. Thank you for remembering all of that. But I know we're still lacking. Obviously, you talked about it in some of these positions, and so not a question for today, but something for us to keep in mind as we discuss this in budget workshops is just to keep us telling us if we're not still, adequately attracting the talent that we need here. Make sure I got all my questions answered. I think that's it. Thank you so much for your report. Anybody else? Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were saying about the stipends for the department chairs and people who are in leadership. Since they are not eligible for TIA, you increased the stipends. So
from $1,875 to $5,000.
Okay, thank you.
And one last thing, just thank you. Thank you for the report, but thank you for the different strategic priorities that you've been engaging and adding into. I have seen a lot of that and noticed it and gotten a lot of great feedback about that. So it is appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions or anything to pull?
Move to approve.
I'm going to pull one. Hang on. We're going to pull I wrote it down, number 6. So, motion to approve.
Motion to approve all but item 6. Second.
We have a motion to approve all but item 6 by Mr. Villarreal and a second by Mr. Clark. Your deliberators are open. Motion carries. And on item 6, I'm going to make an amendment that there's for 7 campuses on the old Cunningham at South Park campus that we reserve or change that to exclude the gym on that property. If we can make note of that. So we're agreeing to do the architecture work for the architectural services for the demolition of 7 campuses, which includes the old Cunningham at South Park, but excluding the gym on that property.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Motion to approve that item by Mr. Villarreal, second by Dr. Hawkins. Just a minute. Motion carries.
Good amendment.
Okay. Now we have our action items. Our first one is approval of Senate Bill 546, compliance plan for the school bus seat belts. And we have Mr. Pellichet here to answer any questions. You want to tell us a little bit background?
Good evening, President Gonzalez-Trolley, members of the board, Dr. Hernandez. My name is Kyle Pellichet. I'm the Director of Transportation, your proud Director of Transportation. And I'm here this evening to present to you an update regarding Senate Bill 546 as it relates to school bus seatbelts. In this presentation, I will provide a brief overview of Senate Bill 546, an overview of our current bus fleet and seatbelt inventory, our current compliance status, some cost estimates to retrofit and replace non-compliant buses, and finally, our 3-year plan for compliance. Just a quick overview. Senate Bill 546 was passed during 89th Texas legislative session and went into effect September 1st, 2025, amending the Texas Transportation Code 547.701 to enhance school bus safety. The law mandates that all school buses, regardless of the model year, must be equipped with 3-point seat belts by September 1st, 2029. This legislation removes previous exemptions for older buses, 2017 and older. Just some information on our fleet overview. Our bus fleet consists of 3 different sizes and types of buses. We have first our 71-passenger conventional buses, which we have 81 of those buses in our fleet. Our compliance rate for those buses is 82% compliance, with 66 being compliant with 3-point seat belts and 15 that are non-compliant that have no seat belts. Next, we have our special needs 44-passenger buses, with 77 of those buses in our fleet, and 47 of those buses being compliant with 3-point seat belts, and 30 that are non-compliant with 2-point lap belts, giving us a 61% compliance rate for our 44-passenger buses. And finally, we have our activity 14-passenger buses, with 18 of those in our fleet, and a compliant 5 buses that are compliant with 3-point seat belts, and 13 that are non-compliant. And of those 13, we have 8 that have 2-point seat belts and 5 with no seat belts, which brings our overall compliance rate for those buses to 28%. So of our total fleet of 176 buses, we have 118 buses that are fully compliant with 3-point seat belts, and 58 are non-compliant, which brings our overall compliance rate to 67% of our fleet. So the total number of buses that are not in compliance is 58. And they will require either retrofitting or replacement. These buses are 10 to 18 years old. They exceed the recommended useful life, which is 12 to 15 years old, or 150,000 miles, or they're in need of a one-time repair that exceeds the overall value of the vehicle. Just some cost estimates. We've analyzed the cost for retrofitting and replacing the non-compliant buses. First, we'll look at the retrofitting option. To retrofit a single bus with 3-point seat belts, the costs range significantly from $14,500 to $70,000, depending on the size and age of the bus, the number of seats that are being replaced, and whether only the seat backs are being replaced or if the entire seat and floor anchoring system needs to be replaced. The total cost estimate to retrofit all 58 of the non-compliant buses comes to $2.4 million. Next, we have our replacement option, which a new fully compliant bus costs between $110,000 and $165,000, with the average cost of our 14-passenger buses new being $110,000. Our 44-passenger buses, $155,000, and our 71-passenger buses, about $165,000. The total cost estimate to replace all the non-compliant buses comes out to $6.6 million over 3 years. Now, given that most of these non-compliant buses are at the end of their useful life, We recommend replacement as the more cost-effective option for longevity and to ensure all buses meet new safety requirements and standards of Senate Bill 546. So here's our compliance plan. In recommending replacing non-compliant buses, we propose a 3-year phase-in plan ensuring 100% compliance by September 1st, 2029. It's important to note that for this year, the 2025-26 school year, we've already replaced 10 non-compliant buses. 6 have been received and 4 are on order to be delivered over the next few weeks. So going to our plan for year 1, which would be the 2026-2027 school year. Our plan is to replace 14 of the buses that range from 14 to 18 years old, and to retrofit 5 activity buses that are 10 to 11 years old. The 5 buses proposed for retrofit have at least another 5 years of useful life remaining, and at a cost of approximately $14,500 per bus. Our plan for year 2, the 27-28 school year. Our plan is to replace 15 buses that are 15 to 17 years old. And then finally, our plan for year 3, final replacement of the remaining 14 non-compliant buses that are 14 to 16 years old. This compliance plan requires an estimated investment of $6.6 million over the next 3 years, averaging about $2.2 million per year. In conclusion, our pathway to compliance is clear. By adhering to the proposed compliance plan and continuing the systematic replacement of aging buses, we will meet Senate Bill 546 compliance standards. Furthermore, this approach ensures our entire fleet is equipped with the latest safety technology, including 3-point seatbelts. Therefore, we're requesting that the board approve action item A as presented in our 3-year phased-in compliance plan. And this concludes my presentation. I thank you all for your time and for your continued support. And at this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Bell?
Thank you for this, this information report. Just a couple of quick questions. What is the window that the state of Texas give us to be in compliance? Is it a three-year window, or what do we do what? 29?
Yes, September 1st, 2029 is our compliance deadline.
Okay, and I'm, just from the rhetoric, I'm assuming this was a mandate that was not funded.
Correct, unfunded mandate.
And the next question would be, Karen, what are we going to do here, you know? Okay. Okay. And the last question I have is, so we put in these 3-point seat belts, and I've got a busload of kids, and I'm going down to the valley, whatever, and kids not wearing their seat belts. What is the story on that? What can happen? Is there, you know, if they get pulled over, or is the bus driver going to be responsible for being sure that all the kids are buckled up, or how's that going to work?
Well, by law, if the buses are equipped with the seat belts, they're supposed to be worn by students.
They're supposed to be worn by students?
Yes, they're supposed to be worn. Now, there are compliance issues with students starting the ride with the seat belts and then taking them off.
Right.
But there's no way for the driver to detect that, you know, on a ride full of load of students, I'm sorry.
So this is going to be an education piece for all of our kiddos. Get on the bus, get buckled up. It's the law.
Correct.
But eventually when the kids take their seatbelts off and are laying around or whatever on a long trip, then that's not going to be on the bus driver.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Pellish. I appreciate it. I wanted to offer a question about the 26-27 school year and the retro of the 5 buses that you say are going to be the activity buses, so it's going to carry a cost of $14,500 because those are going to be retro? Is that correct?
Yes.
Does it make sense to go ahead and look at those as replacements? I understand we spend another $100,000 per bus, but when you talk about retroing something or trying to make something work for a significant amount of time, I know we don't really open ourselves up to liability per se, right, Mr. Nelson? But I mean, when you're talking about, you're going to go in and you're going to either have to anchor through the floor, or you're going to have to do all kinds of different mechanisms that really could have the propensity to break down. And a bus that's 5 years away does it make more sense to look at just replacing those buses?
And we have, in fact, as a contingency, we could look at replacing those buses in the third year of the plan, along with the remaining 14. Just replacing them all together and not doing any retros at all. But since those buses did have some life, looking at another 5 years of useful life, we considered making that plan, putting that in motion for the first year of the plan, for retro.
Yeah, but I understand that. I would just encourage looking at potentially just replacing them all and not going through these different gyrations we're going to have to do on these different buses.
Okay.
But that's my opinion. I mean, Karen's mad at me now. I understand that, and that's okay.
Oh, it's just another $500,000.
It's not the first time.
He's
Okay.
Hey, Karen, are you hearing
Thank
that?
you. She's got HEB check hiding somewhere.
That's it right there.
Not going to cover a bus. Ms. Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Pellichet, for your report. We don't get to see you too often up in here, so.
Not with a ton.
And I'm pretty sure you probably are thankful for that. But anyway, I thank you for bringing us this information. And I'm just kind of concerned about the children unbuckling. And I guess my question is there any kind of manifestation or mechanism that could be installed that would signal the driver that somebody has unbuckled the belt while en route?
That was a conversation at the very beginning of 3-point seatbelt installation on buses back in 2017.
Oh, wow, okay.
And manufacturers determined that would be just too difficult for a driver to be able to monitor and oversee something like that with 50 children on the bus potentially unbuckling. So I don't necessarily have an answer to that question right now.
Well, you said that was in 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, fast forward, that's a pretty good little while. Has there not been any kind of R&D to maybe do something like that? And I know that would call for the driver to be cognizant of things going on behind him or her. But at some point, because we've seen buses go off a cliff, so we don't have a lot of them here in South Texas, but and buses overturning because someone has, somebody is driving and maybe pulled in front of a bus or something like that and had some type of an accident. But I just feel like that somebody needs to go back to the drawing board on that. And it doesn't have to be that the driver knows exactly who it is, but maybe that driver could pull over to this curb and, kind of take a walk down the aisle and come back. But at any rate, I think that would kind of help us in terms of if, God forbid, that there was an accident or something. And that's just my thought. I know everything is possible, but most things aren't probable. So, but anyway, I just thought I would just want to ask you about that because I think that is so important. Anyway,
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. But thank you for the report. Lots of work there.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Dr. Hawkins.
Second.
Just a second. I think we should reconsider what Mr. Clark said about the 14 passenger buses as far as retrofitting. Is that something we want to discuss? Or is it doable?
We can do a cost analysis on that, and then we will get back to the board.
So we would table that.
Because that's not till the 26, 27, that's the second year, right?
So you want to carve those?
So we want to.
That's the
Those
first
five
year.
buses.
The first year was the plan for the retrofitting. But I'm considering that in year 3 to do the replacement of those buses because they still have some life, and we'll just replace them in year 3 when they're closer to the end of their useful life.
So do we want to carve out the small buses until we look at it financially?
Decide to change the plan, I'll bring it back to you as an amendment as far as financially.
But we're still, we would
Yes,
still
we
need
just
to
want
vote
to make
come
sure
the
that-
a compliance plan, which is what we're
Correct.
doing right now.
Correct.
And then we can amend it later if we need to. Okay. So we have a motion by Dr. Hawkins and a second by Mr. Villarreal. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, our next item is our approval to fill the board officer vacancy for our vice president position. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to move to nominate Dr. Upshaw Hawkins for vice president.
Do we have a second?
Usually what you do is you take nominations.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's right. I apologize. Okay.
I'd like to nominate Eric Villarreal for vice president.
Okay. Anybody else? I guess that's it. Okay. So I need to do a vote.
Ask each board member who they vote for and just tally the votes. And
Okay.
you can do a motion and second based on what the results are.
Okay. All right. Mr. Pereira? Mr. Bell?
Dr. Hawkins.
Okay. I'm going to vote for Mr. Villarreal. Dr. Hawkins?
Myself.
Okay. Mr. Clark?
Mr. Villarreal.
Mr. Villarreal?
Mr. Villarreal.
Okay. So we're at 3-3. So what do we do now?
Could I make a motion that we table it until we've got all 7 of our board members here?
That's one option.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to table this item by Mr. Clark and a second by Mr. Villarreal. Take a vote. Motion carries. Okay, we'll bring it back up. All right. Then we have, that brings us to our calendar. We have a lot coming up, graduation season. We have our first round of graduations this Saturday, our branch and collegiate graduations Saturday, which have moved to Veterans Memorial High School Auditorium from Del Mar, so note that. Academic Achievers on the 19th at Veterans Memorial, a retirement celebration at Veterans Memorial on the 20th, and then the rest of our graduations on May 29th and 30th at the Hilliard Center. That'll take us to our Board of Trustees and Superintendent remarks, and we'll start with Mr. Villarreal. Mr. Clark? Dr. Hawkins?
I just want to say congratulations to our school board. If we can give them another round of applause, what an honor. There are many, many school board members and districts that wish they could say that just in their tenure of ever serving on a board. So proud of you guys and your work. I also want to say congratulations to Moody Robotics. They qualified for Worlds competition, and we're working with them. But they won the region, and I like to say it like Dr. Vela said it this morning to a Midland group that was here visiting their FitGo and Health and Science Academy because they love the model that they use. The region is not this little region 2. It's like 5 states that they won, and that's why they get a chance now to go, I think maybe to Canada. Canada. Possibly for the world competition. So we'll keep you posted on that. So proud of them. Thank you.
Oh, and Vets real quick. Vets baseball advanced to the next round. They'll be playing, I believe, Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Somerset against Leander Rouse High School.
Looking forward to all the graduations. It's a really fun time for me. I know Mr. Brer's looking forward to it since he shook a lot of hands last year and wants to do it again. And a little personal side note, my youngest had her daughter the other night, last week, a little one, 10 pounds, 1 ounce, 22 inches, Isla Emerson Rodriguez, so keep her in your prayers. That's a big baby.
Mr. Brewer? Okay, back to Mr. Clark.
Yep, sorry, I forgot something. Veterans Memorial High School, the Coast Guard ROTC program in its first year, went to Florida, and in the open division for their honor guard, placed 8th in the country. And I think that is a magnificent accomplishment for them. And that's all I got.
Okay, well, I don't have much more to add than that. Looking forward to seeing everybody out and about for the next couple of weeks, and celebrating with my fellow board members at everything that we have to celebrate. And until then, we are adjourned at 7:22 p.m.